I bet you guys missed these videos. No, you didn't. Stop lying. All right, let's do it. Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. Man, it feels good to say that. It has been a while. So another week has passed. Actually, a month and a half has passed. Sorry if you have no idea what's going on and you only watch my update videos. You know what? No, I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I've talked about it in like 2 other videos. There's a video complete dedicated towards it. Go check that out. It's on the channel. It's also on Patreon, fun fact. That's a thing now. It's linked to that. It's explained. It's in the video description as well. But either way, shilling, we are going to go over everything you need to know with the current update for NGS that's coming out this week. New stuff, same old stuff, everything in between. Basically, I'm here so you don't have to read. So this is the first video of mine you've ever watched. Hi, hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Chrono. I usually cover this content for you guys. That way you don't have to sit down here and read this information yourself. I sit here and read it for you. You can just toss it up in the background and continue doing whatever else it is that you are doing at this given moment. However, if you don't want to wait for me to make these videos, just head over to PSO2.com/players or NGS.ps2.com. Scroll on down and the important information usually has a little red tag next to it. Most important thing you're normally going to find is the update details, which we'll be basically starting off of. And we'll take a look at other stuff, Creative Spaces All Ship, Super Genesis Festival, good stuff here. We're going to want to grab that. PSO ES Vacation Style, you'll love to see it. It's December and we're getting bikini outfits from ES, but hey, you know what? To each is their own. Along with the years, I'm going to talk about this in this video because I'm not going to make a whole separate video for it. We're going to add that in here as well. And then, of course, we have the maintenance announcement. Usually, if there's anything important to know, it is noticed, or if there's any important changes for the service to know, it is normally noted in here. So we do have a couple of things here. So some updates for players, just to display position of style skills for certain EX styles. Change specifications for EX styles after blast so that the following effects durations are reset upon activation. Interesting. Change EX style after blast so that the following effects durations are reset upon activation. The time remaining until Double Saber Whirlwind ends, and then the time remaining until Slayer Seal Gunblade Focus ends. Wait, so this is like a little buff to both Slayer and to Fighter. So your Whirlwind is reset whenever you activate After Blast, and so is Gunblade Focus. Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool. Some interface changes. So change the design of the change the design of the task details and progress gauges in the task display to make them easier to see. Made the following changes to auto sell drop items. Added 14 stars and 13-star armor. Because we're getting 14-star weapons and 13-star armor and LG2 rarity because it's LG3 rarity. So yeah, it makes sense. It goes along with what's releasing. Character creation stuff. What do we have here? Under customized expressions in the salon, change the specifications for an interpolation. I can't read. Why am I reading this for you guys? Read it yourselves. I'm joking. When swapping certain parts, added the following customization items to customize expressions in the salon. Funny how I skipped that word because I can't read it because I'm bad, and I'm just going to tell you that, and that's totally fine because it's okay to make mistakes. Moving on. Basically, they add all this stuff in the character customization, basically changes and expressions that you can actually make. They've talked about this. We talked about this during the headline, which that video did not go live. The next one will, I promise. We also have added the following expressions to customize expressions in the salon. So you have 3 customizations that now can be edited. So pretty cool stuff there. Creative Spaces. Added a feature to register favorite build parts. In Creative Spaces, the Your C Spaces list will now show whether or not a space is shared, even if the space has expired. All ship access will be enabled for all Creative Spaces. This applies to Creative Spaces with privacy settings set to publicly shared. Editing and design downloads will not be possible during all ship matchmaking. Communication features will also have the same restrictions as conventional all ship matchmaking. Alliance spaces will be excluded from all ship access due to having alliance specific features. So basically what this is saying is you can't go to someone else's creative space and help them design. You have to have a character on that ship. I don't know if you can design while someone from other ships is in your creative space. It might disable it altogether. This doesn't read like that's exactly how it happens, but of course we'll test it when we get into game. But this is one of those things where you'll have to take a look at. Essentially, you can't do, you can't do anything other than visit and look out, hang out in creative spaces during all ships. So pretty cool stuff though. Honestly, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see this a thing. Hopefully you can edit your own creative space while other people are in there. because it would kind of suck if you couldn't. But this is going to be an absolute game changer for future events that are done for PSO2. So glad to see it, excited to see it. Hopefully this is something that will continue to move forward, and this is a W change. Added new items to the product list of the exchange shop under purchase build parts. So new build parts being added. Added the following items to the product list in the exchange shop for ARX record badges. We got to get back on top of our ARX record badge stuff. We've been slacking on that pretty dramatically. They added basically 12 everything. Neat. Some items from the Super Fantasy Festival 25 SB scratch lineup have been added to the special scratch. Added an exchange shop equipment 3 augment transfer to the item trader. This is for the upgrades of specific weapons and units. And then change specifications of item recycling, so the items that are now available for exchange ticket target count bonus items, and it shows the items that you can now exchange as well if you happen to have extras. Other specification changes: the daily period transfer will now be performed at a set time each day, so this is now a daily thing. They also go into ranked, unranked battles, talking about line strike, face tracking settings are now excluded from temporary save camera, so that's supposed to make this process a bit easier in easy photo mode. Camera controls for, camera controls for skit playback when accessed during NPC. The camera controls for skip playback when accessing certain NPCs that appear after the main task of Promise to Grow have been updated so the camera can be controlled by right dragging. I don't know what this is, and it's probably too big for my brain. So if you guys in the comments understood that, feel free to let me know. I probably read it wrong. Chat commands for customized expressions 1, 2, 3 have been added as CI10, CI11, and CI12. Respectively. The following corrections will be made to the character names used in certain items, and those are the names. Okay. And updates to the end user license agreement has happened, so I would double check that. Some bug fixes. I don't see anything very specific. Hold on. Fix the bug with Leciel exploration combat analysis survey zone, where the following ability buffs to be less effective than intended. Following ability buffs were less additional damage on PA. Driving attack potency down factor up. Additional attack on normal. Wait, hold on. Fixed a bug. Leciel expression. The following ability buffs to be less effective than intended. The additional attack on normal attack was less effective than this is massive. Like, if you've never done Leciel during normal attack day, you'll find if you've been in my stream, normal attack day is basically easy win day, because as long as you're far away from your target, like a reasonable amount away, for some reason, the normal attack just does way more damage, even if you swing at nothing. So in a lot of cases, for a lot of classes, even if you don't have like the ability to normal attack easy, the faster normal attacks you have, the more damage you're going to deal overall. And it's better for you to cancel into like normal 1 and 2s over and over again and step cancel than it is to actually complete combos or even hit the boss with your actual weapons. Like, normal attacks do that much damage. So I'm not sure if this is the normal attack they're referring to, like the follow-up attack, but if it is, and it's doing less damage than intended, that's wild. Because maybe it's just the first half, because like it doesn't do a lot of damage on the, like, basically if you're close to the target, you do a certain amount of damage. If you're further from the target, you do even more damage. So yeah, hopefully that's referring specifically to like the damage of the normal attack close up. And if that's the case, like maybe it's supposed to be that strong. Who knows? I'm not sure what the whole concept of the idea here is, but we'll have to see. Maybe this is referring to a different version of Leciel, like the linear version. There's like a normal attack buff that I just haven't noticed or whatever. But truth be told, I only ran that Leciel like when it first came out, and then not really much ever anymore. So this is what it is. Bugs that cause overlapping objectives in field races. Bugs of max HP. Hold on. Fix the bug where the max HP up effect granted by address EX skill sometimes is not retained when proceeding to the next floor of certain quests. Interesting. Never came across that, but to be fair, I never really did that sort of stuff. Fix the bug with following skill rings where the recovery effect would sometimes trigger multiple times under certain conditions. HP keep and patient follow. Interesting. So you could get them. So it was bugged and proccing too many times. Fix the bug with EX style blitz where the repeated PA counter would not reset when activating the gunblade weapon action. Okay, so this was bugged. Okay, hold on. Fix the bug with EX style blitz where the repeated PA counter would not reset when activating the gunblade weapon action. Wait, so Slayers have been able to use their weapon action between PAs and it didn't count as a reset? I was told this specifically didn't work. Like, using your weapon action in between would cause it to reset. Yeah, fix the bug where the EX styles where the repeated PA counter would not reset when activating the weapon action for the gunblade. Maybe it was like a very specific version of it. I was told specifically that this wasn't good for Slayer because of that, like activating your weapon action in between your PAs was causing issues. So this doesn't work. For anyone who's unaware of like how bullets actually works, basically you use 3 PAs in a row to activate its ability. And then you start getting, you know, of course, is it P? No, that's technically with the after blast. But anyway, you just have to use 3 PAs in a row to activate its actual ability. And I know for a fact that using a weapon action between each PA, even if it's the exact same PA on soaring blades, does not or resets the counter each time. I was told the same thing happens for gunblade as well, even though like you could weapon action in the middle of your PA for an extra hit, and it was apparently it was supposed to reset your counter as well. I was told that it does. This is saying that it didn't, unless talking about a different weapon action. Fix the bug with loadouts where changing armor or skill rings would sometimes not be registered correctly. Fix the bug with skill ring type 2 underfollow or PP underfollow where its effect would activate even when Mars was equipped. Interesting. Fix the bug with skill ring enhancement where the initial position of the list while being correct under certain conditions. That's okay. That's whatever. I don't really see anything else. That's, if I miss anything that's really interesting, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to read about it. But that's pretty much it for patch notes, I guess you could say. Now we're going to go over update information. So the 3rd starts the Super Genesis Festival for 2025. Awesome stuff. This is just get a bunch of free stuff. If there's ever a time you're like, should I come back to PSO2? I want to play some PSO2, but I don't know if it's a good time to come back. I'll be able to catch now. Do it now. This is your time. Previously, there wasn't a whole lot going on. There were some bonuses and things like that. People are kind of freaking out because the player base numbers aren't super high on global. This is your chance. Get the free stuff. Like, take advantage of all of the bonuses. Take advantage of all the free things they're handing out. Get caught up if you want to get caught up. Luther's coming back around on the 17th. If you're concerned about not being geared up for that, get your stuff together. Get ready. Get going. Cool? Cool. So we got some treasure. We have the Super Treasure Scratch 12. Super Treasure Scratch 13 is going to be coming up on the horizon. Super Reward Box, January 2026. We've got the 14-star Belfast armor that's coming up. I don't know if this is upgrade off of the 13-star orange armors or if these are their own armors. They're the same style, like they look the same. So I'm imagining these are upgraded off of the orange ones. So I'll see how that goes. Of course, we have the new Legend 3 rarity weapons. We have the Leyend, the Legend Dios, and the TWAV weapons that are all upgrading. We also have a Series 14-star weapon that is on the horizon as well. Keep in mind that, yes, we do have 4 weapon options here. This isn't a terrible thing. This means that we have support options as well as main damage options. So those of you guys who like to play the support classes, someone like, you know, that's pushing for things like Tector, that's pushing for things like Ranger, that really wants to support their team a lot more, you may be looking and eyeing up these Legend 3 weapons because they actually could be very valuable, given having one in your MPA making a fairly massive difference. Remember correctly, 12 had something to do with crit rate, so this might be really, really powerful. I'm not 100% sure. I got to double check that one. Moving on, we have Central City being decked out for Christmas and Christmas decor. We already have our outfit, as you guys have seen in previous videos, or wait, that video's not out yet, as you will see in future videos. But got our Christmas outfit going on, winter stuff going on. These are Raggle Wrappies, not Nab Wrappies. These are from PSO, I think. PSO1, yes. Bring me in the comments. Zitra is here with her. This just looks like a nightgown outfit that apparently can turn into a bikini, because of course it can. We're playing Phantasy Star. And then of course Peppy Rappy is back because new Rappies have shown up, so more quests probably with him. We also have various posters, basically all based on PSO1 or PSO, I guess you can call it. Also really, really cool. So we have the Super Genesis Festival 2025 scratch is also available, and it has some pretty cool camos, including the claws camo. And why this is really cool is because these camos previously had a special, or not camos, but these weapons in base PS2 had a specialized effect that would actually cause the weapon to change. So you would normally swing your weapon as is. This is the sword variant of it. So the weapon as is, and you can see all these other bits here. These would stay here, and you would do 3 normal attacks in a row, and it would cause you to get the buff for your weapon. And all those little bits would attach directly to your weapon. So instead of them being floating back here, they'd be attached to your weapon and it would actually change, which looked really, really cool for a lot of different weapons. And in base PS2, they came out with a camo that didn't do that, and it sucked. So in NGS, from what we've seen at least, the camo does. There's no effect, of course. It just is automatically the unlock for going right back in. So like it's automatically the unlocked version of it. It's already the upgraded version of it. You have to worry about doing normal attacks or whatever. So it's cool. I'm just excited to see we have this camo, and it's the upgraded version of the weapon itself, because that's always what kind of sucked about using this camo back in base PS2. It was always the unupgraded version. It was better to just, you know, not have a camo equipped at all. And then also the shotgun. I feel like I'm downplaying it. It's a pretty cool shotgun. It's a rifle camo. But yeah, I love the claws camos. I apologize. Moving on, we also have up to 150 SG Scratch tickets. This is an easy way to get tons and tons and tons of SG Scratch tokens if you need them. We have things like Lavis Cannon. My Tector's out there. You know about Lavis Cannon. Remember how powerful it was. This is simply a camo. You can relive that fantasy yet again. Happy Hairband. Again, more PSO1 stuff or PSO stuff, however you want to put it. This episode, we have a new mini episode featuring Kanui and Aina discussing their thoughts on how the arcs fight. This is Aina trying to learn from Kanui. Cool. I mean, the last mini episode was actually a step in the right direction. It was better. I do want to see more of that. I want to see them kind of expand on those mini episodes. I know people are like freaking out about the story. They quite literally have mentioned multiple times that their storyline progression time frame is for February. It's after all of this has gone on. I don't know why or what's going on, but SEGA has this thing about cooking on their own, and they will let people get really upset and talk all of this junk and then finally come out with something where we're like, dude, why didn't you just tell us you were doing this? So I'm going to reserve my opinions of the matter for that time. Part of what made base PSO2 stories so good were the side stories. So that's what I'm focused on. That's what I want to see them do better. I want to see these side stories get better, have a bit more meat on them. They don't have to be super big. They do have to be a bit more impactful. I want to, you know, not just have 2 or 3 cutscenes, have a moment of actually going out and like basically storytelling similar to that of the previous story quest we went up to Nameless, right? Where we're in a quest and they're talking to us during the quest to provide the storytelling instead of doing it via a cutscene. Just, it's better, even if it's not voice acted, just like pop-ups on the screen, it's just better that way, in my opinion. And like little mini cutscenes where they kind of slow down and they kind of pan across things. Those are way, way better. And I want to see that a lot more when it comes to these storylines. Leciel Exploration. So we have Leciel Exploration changing back into its linear variant. The RNG and the Leciel thing this time around, and it happens for every single run, is that the buffs that you get, you change. However, the route doesn't change immediately, it only changes every day. Really hate this. Really wish they'd get away from this mindset. Really wish they would start doing more randomized routes for everything. If you have 5 or 6 different quest types, roll them every single time you roll in the quest. If you have 5 or 6 different routes, roll them every single time you go into the quest. I don't want to see the same one for an entire day. I think that's kind of lame. Just roll it. I don't care if we only have 5 variants. If you only have like 3 variants, you only have 2 variants, just randomize it. Roll every time we go in the quest. It's so much better overall. I feel like it's such a waste of what I'm looking for here. It's a waste of potential to do things this way. They've been on this whole daily reset thing. We'll talk more about why that I feel like that's a thing in a later video, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, choose your own ability to get to the next sector, blah, blah, blah. Pretty standard stuff. Like, I actually kind of like this mechanic specifically. It's just I wish they would change up the route stuff. It really does bother me. Limited tasks and titles, and then level 110, rank 3, all that good stuff here. So, new equipment. We have Legend 3 weapons. So, upgradable 12-star TWAV series, Legend 1, Legend Dios, and Legend 2 Lay-In series. Will upgradable into the Legend 3 variants. It looks like you will be using prog grinders and improved cubes. It looks like it requires 3,000 prog grinders, 250 improved cubes. So these have to drop quite a bit, because dude, Krez cubes you need like 5. So it seems like it's quite a bit overall. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then of course you can see the 12-star TWAV series. It looks like it's also 250. So yeah, it's no difference. They do have AT series weapons as well. I'm not sure if they show them here. If it requires more, it's probably going to require these improved cubes to upgrade or to buy them. So yeah, 12-star AT weapon. Yeah, the 12-star TWAV AT weapon series will also be added. Get by exchanging Super Genesis 2025 tickets. I'm sure the shop of TWAV weapons have been completely purchased out at high fixes. So yeah, that's what it is. I don't know how long we got TWAV drops and we're memeing them up and laughing about them and dismantling them and throwing them out, and now some people may want them. We'll have to see. We also have items like basically these are more build-based items. We got Big Bear, we got Rappy Plush, we got an umbrella, cool stuff. Various improvements and new features. We talked a lot about these in the server maintenance stuff. I'm not going to get into it again. You can see it here, included with pictures. Very pretty, very nice. Talking about creative spaces being accessed from all ships. I guess they show us an example of that. Move your ship, or move to your ship's creative space. Move to sea space, uneditable at all ship. Interesting. I guess this is like, you have the option to move to like a version of your ship and then a version of like all ship. Okay, weird. Ship transfers done daily. We talked about this. Looks like it's going to be implemented at 12 p.m. PST every day. So there you go. And then we have PSO2NGS Vacation Style. This is from Phantasy Star Online 2 ES. This is a mobile game on the JP side. I think it is still a mobile game on the JP side, actually. I don't know if it's actually gone away. But I would love to see a PSO2NGS ES and then be brought over to global. Not because I want to deal with a pay-to-win mess like PSO2 ES actually is, but to be honest, just to have something like mobile-wise that I can interact with a little bit. There's like some integration that's actually really, really fun on my phone that I would enjoy quite a bit. A weapon camo such as I'm not going to pronounce that stuff. An NGS spec and collab items, including idle motions, all very cool. So they're basically, these are ES specific items. Like these camos existed beforehand. They're basically giving us NGS spec versions of them, or we might have had NGS spec versions of these. They might just be doing them again for this collab. I don't remember exactly. Honestly, the camos kind of run together for me unless they're CV. There's like CV and non-CV, and that's pretty much it as far as I'm concerned. And of course, the most important part, body pillows. Login bonuses, pretty standard acrylics of essentially the idols, and then login bonuses. You get the acrylics and stuff like that from there, along with some extra bonus stuff items. That's pretty much it for the update information. We also have an event that's going on for Creative Space All Ship Celebration. GP Tree Boost, Build Part Discount Sale, and Rental Sea Space Discount Sale. So they're discounting getting extra rental spaces if you want them. There's, yeah, you can spend AC to get more rental spaces if you like building a bunch of creative spaces. You get like, I think one for free, an extra one for being premium, and then you can buy the rest if you want to rent them. I say buy the rest, but you're renting the space itself and you only have it for like 30 to 90 days. So cool stuff. But we get more GP from Genesis trees, and there is a discount on build parts. So if you haven't purchased all your build parts, now's a good time to go ahead and buy them. Super Genesis Festival Part 1 kicks off. So we have, of course, our draws. We have the upgrade of the Epith Enry 3 weapons and the Decim Armor 3 weapons. You get a level 65. We've talked about these enough. We're going to move on. Legend 3 stuff, Super Scratch that's starting up. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in this mix here. Super SG or item recycle. So use the Salon to Your Heart's Content campaign starts up on the 3rd. They go through the entire festival. It looks like we get some Super Genesis items, weekly gifts. It looks we're getting 10 scratch tickets, 5 X cubes, a Mars updater. They're still giving you Mars bars. You're getting them for free at this point. They're cramming them down your throat. Upgrade your Mars. Augment transfer pass vouchers. See, this is one item per week. This is one of these per week, and you're only getting 3. I would like to see this be higher, but it's nice to see them coming back. An improved cube, prog grinders, wrappy shape fritters. So this will give you a little bit of a jump start in your stuff. So this is kind of nice. The Meseta Scratch is coming back, having some more prizes added to the reward lineup. The Super Treasure Scratch, we talked about it, coming back around. We have this, the Spread Needle. Let's see, release of daily tasks where you can get up to 6 scratches per day. And then Urgent Quest, Treasure Scratch tickets added to the drop rate, and enemies reduced down to 30% HP has been reduced by 30%. And that looks to be it. I think the rest is later. Let me see real quick. Pre-announced Urgent Quest also start up on the 3rd. So we have an entire calendar of this. Honestly, would be goated of this is if someone made like a proper Google calendar or something like that we could just like apply to, that had all of this stuff. That would be absolutely amazing. I would love to have a calendar that just popped my watch when an Urgent Quest is supposed to pop up with like a notification. That would be chef's kiss. But I'm not doing it. So, and if I'm doing it, I'm not sharing it, which someone probably has done it and not shared it. That's probably mean. Anyway, we have the AC Scratch. It is what it is. Bruno's outfit, bikinis. People are like, oh, another banana hammock. It's Bruno's outfit, guys. Like that's his outfit. At least the outer is separate. Okay. Do you have an outer? We have a base wear. It's gonna be very flowy. Just be ready for it. And then of course, bikinis, as is per usual. We got Bruno's outer for female characters. Of course, they don't have the base wear because that would be a little awkward. And then of course we have everything else we talked about. So nothing too crazy here. Pretty standard stuff. Pretty much exactly what we'd expect. And to wrap things up, the year's Augment Select 2026 is headed our way. Now this has been met with some pretty divisive opinions. So we're gonna go ahead and go through this really quick. going to give my quick thoughts on the matter. And then, like I said, I have a video coming up later that's going to talk more about all of this moving forward and kind of everything else and my thoughts on the game itself and all that stuff. So pretty par for the course. And honestly, the exact time frame we usually are used to is the Lars class augments, which these are the ones that have lasted the longest so far, are being replaced by Years class augments. They also, with this, is going to include a new capsule. This is going to be an A-type EX augment, which have more powerful effects than other EX augments. And the following A-type EX augments will include in the ticket: turnover, risky, shortage, PP burn, maintain balance, critical enliven, heavy attack, light attack, tech arts, and gradual pressing. You can pretty much ignore heavy, light, tech art, and grad. Those are all pretty weak in most situations. Critical enliven is going to be very, very niche. Certain setups. Maintain balance, as long as you're not an address user, is pretty much is going to be good. If you're an address user, it's basically dead. Shortage, PP burn is going to be great if you're someone who's using the hysterical setup. Risky stance and turnover are probably going to be the two most popular ones because some of the two most popular options, turnover being probably the absolute strongest. Now, people have already been making some wild claims about these. Some people have access to privileged information, therefore they're going to go based on that information. I personally do not report on anything that isn't already officially released. So here's my take on these augments. Does it suck to think you need to have another augment that's going to be a paid augment? Yes, absolutely. Now, looking at it in a vacuum, this is a negative thing. I have no other thoughts outside of this is going to feel like a negative thing to the entire player base. A lot of people aren't playing. There are a ton of games out currently, tons of other things to do. Like, we are spoiled for choice in other games to play right now. And the fact that NGS, you could pretty much jump into at any point in time and you're really not missing out on anything because you can get everything you need from whatever quest is available, means that it gets put on the back burner a lot, at least for me personally. For some people, they're kind of just over it because they have other options of other games they want to play, and that's, you know what, more power to them. Love them for it. I'm all about playing the games you enjoy. However, I'm going to be objective about this for a moment. The reality is this doesn't affect 95% of the player base. This affects the people who are spending money on the game itself. This affects the whales. And the reality is they're providing value to those players, the players that are putting money into the actual game itself. This isn't a separate setup. This isn't a separate scratch. This is a part of the scratch that already exists that we know we have access to as of right now. It feels bad thinking you need a third augment, but it's a third augment on your weapon, not on all your weapons and your units. It also adds value to any EX combination that wasn't the 3 god tier EX augment combinations. So all of those 2 setups, you're like, oh, I was so close. Now this is going to cover it for you. And then you ask the question, but this is going to be like 60 mil or 80 mil. The reality is not everyone's running turnover. Not everyone's running risky. For some people, it's just about getting the damage of having an EX augment in reality. And for some people, things like heavy attack and light attack and tech arts, and I mean, grad pressing actually is really strong if you're using it the right way, but those options are going to be good enough for them. And they're going to go for that setup because it's going to be cheaper. The reality is there's going to be augments that are going to be sought after, and there are going to be augments that are going to be cheaper. And people talk about these augments like they're all going to be 60 mil, but the reality is that the real powerful ones are going to be expensive and the rest of them are going to be really, really cheap, because a lot of people that are spending money on the game are going to pull, they're going to get these cheaper augments that they're not going to need, and they're going to flood the market with them. Like every single situation beforehand. Like everyone that complains about the Lars class or the Yars class and then the Roddy augments can just buy the cheap variants. And the reality is they're not losing much power outside of it. Really, they're almost losing any power in most situations. It's like fractions of a percentage overall, and it doesn't affect their actual BP, nor does it affect their actual, what's we're looking for, their potency number. So yeah, again, it feels a little icky moving into 3 augments, right? Like we were at 2 and we're like, okay, this is getting to be like the limit of what I feel like is okay. 3 pushes a little further than that, but the reality is that this doesn't actually put it into a really bad place. People are gonna tell you it does, and they're gonna act like it does. And then you're gonna wait about a week or 2, and people are going to pull these off on the market, and you're gonna find that the one that you're gonna go for is gonna be really cheap. What's gonna suck for is assholes like me who go after turnover and risky. They're gonna be spending 20 or 30 mil or 40 or 50 trying to get these really good ones. And then new weapons are gonna come out and all this other stuff, right? Like that's gonna suck for us. Because I'm not spending money on the game at the moment, mostly because I'm broke. That sucks. But the reality is it's not going to be nearly as impactful as most people are making it out to be. It feels worse because a lot of people aren't playing the game right now because they do have other options. And like, yeah, you really want people to play the game consistently. You want people to be online. You want people to do stuff. But I've jumped into the game multiple times over the past few weeks. Able to get everything done. Haven't had much of a problem. It's been typical PSO2 as usual. Like the lobbies that are the important lobbies are still full. Like they are the important lobbies. Quests still take the same amount of time. People still suck in pugs. That hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. And people also are still not upgrading their gear. So I feel like most of this crying is coming from people that also aren't upgrading their gear in the first place. So those guys, you get a free upgrade anyway. What are you complaining about? But the reality is that if this was really close to a few things. If this was an S grade augment that you couldn't purchase off of the market, that's a problem. If this was a separate select scratch, that's a problem. Because now we have to spend money somewhere else, right? Where our money is split. But this is mixed in with something we already have. And on top of all of those things, I want to keep something in mind here because we don't know this yet. They say it has more powerful effects. That A could just be X, or it could be XDR and all those other ones combined. These could be the exact same power as 2s and simply have a different suffix. I don't know that it doesn't. We don't. It might not be. It might be. But it's too early to know. We'll find out beginning of next year and we'll judge it then. And the reality is that either you're going to break bank and get the really expensive one. You're going to bust out the credit card to swipe to get the one that you want because you're planning on spending money on the game anyway. Or you get the cheap one and you'll be perfectly fine because realistically speaking, most people don't need the gear that they actually set up in the first place. Or you're like that fourth odd man out that no one really wants to associate with that's not going to get any gear whatsoever. In reality, you're just lazy. I'm sorry, it sounds rude, but the game makes it so easy for you to get very bare minimum gear that if you're still using free gear and you've played for a legitimate amount of time, you are just lazy. Whatever excuse you have to give yourself is up to you, but that is pure laziness. You don't even have to try anymore. It's so incredibly easy. They give you all of the augments via LCs. You could be fully LC'd out with the current tier of gear and be an absolute gamer, and no one would bat an eye. And there are still people running around with free gear. It's so sad. But yeah, I don't want to get into that. That's going to be something for a different video itself. And that is all I've got for you guys today. If there's anything that I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I know we're not doing the in-game portion segment of this, but for me to be able to make these videos properly, get them out on time, be able to actually have a proper sleep schedule, I got to make these videos this way. So if you want to get my in-game opinions on the matter, I will be live at 10 a.m. Eastern, as I always am, every single day. You guys can talk to me there. Thanks for watching all the way through the end. Like if you enjoyed. Subscribe when you keep up with more. Reminder, unfortunately, I don't have channel members right now since monetization is turned off, but if you do want to support the channel, there'll be a link to Patreon in the video description below where you get all of my videos completely ad-free as soon as they're done. So this video will go live over there instantly, and it will go live on YouTube probably a couple hours later. That goes along with the actual like upgrade time and all that good stuff. So either way, take care, my friends. Peace out.